Hi, I'm Dr. Arthur Bradley, and today I'm going to talk to you about personal protective equipment, or PPE. Now, this is a very important topic with the coronavirus spreading across the United States and around the world. Many people are wondering how to protect themselves, and in particular, there's a lot of very specific questions about how to use protective equipment and what's the good stuff that they should get, how to sanitize it, and so forth. So today, I'm just going to cover 4 different types of personal protective equipment. I'm going to talk about gloves and what you should look for. And for each of these, I'll have a recommendation, but you can find other products that you might like just as well or better. I'll also talk about glasses, I'll talk about masks, and then I'll talk about suits. Okay, so I'll go through each one at a time, talk about what to look for and the evaluations that I've done, the products that I recommend. All right, and then following this video, I'll have a second video in which I talk about decontaminating your personal protective equipment, including disposable N95 respirators, which a lot of people have questions about. All right? Okay, let's start by talking about gloves. Everybody's going to need a big box of disposable gloves. Now, gloves are typically either in latex or nitrile because some people are allergic to latex. So most of these that I looked at 6 different kinds. Most of those were nitrile gloves. And they really broke down into sort of 3 different categories. And so I'll show you what those are, and then I'll talk about my recommendation. So the first were these blue type gloves, which you often see doctors use, maybe for a quick examination of a patient. They want to make sure they don't get, any blood on them or contaminate the patient's wounds and things like that. And they're fine for that application. But what you'll find is that they're really thin and they're very easy to tear or rupture. So while they may be great, for that application in a quick doctor's office visit, they're not really appropriate for wearing around for hours while you're out and about shopping or something like that. So I don't recommend these thin medical type gloves. The second one are gloves like this black one here, which are meant to be much more durable. And their typical applications are maybe like in a shop, like an automotive shop, where maybe a mechanic would put these on before he's changing the oil just to keep the oil and grease off of his hands. And they're great, they're flexible and they're relatively comfortable. And while they're more expensive than the blue gloves, they're certainly better made and would be well suited to wearing around throughout the day. All right, so that's the second type. And the third type are some 2-layer gloves, very similar to the black ones. They have a black outer layer and a white inner layer. And again, they're really meant for typically for like automotive type applications where they need nice rugged gloves. Again, still very comfortable. The difference is that by having this white inner layer, if you get a puncture or a tear in the glove, you'll see the white part, so you'll know that you've got some kind of compromise to your glove, and you would know to change them. So of all of the gloves, I really like these 2-layer ones the best for that reason. They're very, very tear resistant and durable. They certainly could wear them around for hours. They're comfortable enough to wear, and because of this white second layer, they give you some indication when you've compromised them. Now, they're a little bit more expensive. They're maybe $25 for a box, versus maybe $20 for a box versus maybe $15 for a box. But the cost delta is so small that, why not spend a few more dollars and get some gloves that are really going to give you the best protection you can, all right? So that would be my recommendation. Now, again, with each of these products, what I'm going to do is evaluate a bunch of things. I'll give you my opinion. Just as a courtesy to people, I'll put the product that I recommend on my website, disasterrepair.com. But it's not to make money on them. It's really just to make them easy for people to find and be able to order at one place. So you could certainly go and look for them all over other places and find some gloves. I'm just, by doing the evaluation, I'm able to pick one that I know I could recommend to people. All right. So anyway, that would be my recommendation on the gloves. A relatively modest cost. Get yourself at least 100 pairs for anybody who's going to be going in and out of the house. I think that would be a very inexpensive but wise investment. All right. So that's gloves. Next, we'll go ahead and talk about glasses. Okay, so now let's talk about glasses. So glasses are really important. You have to have some way of shielding your eyes because that's one of the primary ways that a virus actually enters the body. Either you've touched something that's contaminated, then you rub your eyes, which we all do that throughout the day, or maybe somebody has sneezed or coughed and you've walked through those little micro droplets that are still sort of floating in the air. And they get in your eyes and you've contracted the virus, right? So you want some way to at least try and provide a layer of shielding for anything that might try and get in your eyes. Plus, it keeps you from rubbing at your eyes, which is very important. So I looked at, I guess 8 different kinds of glasses. 4 of them were just conventional glasses that we would wear if you don't normally wear glasses. Maybe you have contacts, but you don't have physical glasses. Everything from these really inexpensive glasses that you can put on, they wrap around whatever glasses you get. You want some that will wrap around the side, give you sort of nice, good fit to your face. These glasses, they're almost disposable. You can buy, oh, I don't know, less around $1 a pair or something like that. Very inexpensive. Now they won't last long. You can just tell they're fragile. You might be able to wear them 5 times or something like that before they'd break. But remember, when you come home, you have to decontaminate them, which means, and I'll talk about how to decontaminate things in my next video. But it basically means you're going to wash them in a bleach solution. So that's going to further wear them a little bit. So anyway, it's certainly possible to just buy very inexpensive glasses and just change them out frequently, and that's fine. That's one option. And there are some that are slightly better made. These are by 3M. But when you put them on, honestly, they feel a little bit more rugged than the ones that are super cheap. And these might be like $4 a pair. But I don't know that there's enough of a difference. I think if it were me, between those two, I'd probably just buy the really cheap ones, because I don't think these are going to last too much longer than those. They have a little soft rubber nose piece, but again, these glasses are so light, I don't think that's really all that important. Then there's some that are almost more like goggles. They have a little rubber seal here, and they go tight against the face. They wrap around, and at first blush, you might think, well, that would be what I want, something nice and tight, and it's got this rubber seal. But the issue with these are, again, you have to decontaminate them, and I worry about how the rubber, this sort of plasticized rubber, is going to react with the bleach over repeated washings. I don't think it would do well, and also the glasses are not particularly comfortable. So it wouldn't be the ones I'd recommend, even though they do seem like they would do a good job of wrapping around tightly to your face. And then finally, the ones that I like the very best are glasses that really kind of look like glasses, but they have little side protections here. They're adjustable in the legs, and they're comfortable. They fit well to the face. Again, they go right up around the sides here, and they're much better made than these other glasses that I've looked at. So, hands down, these glasses I think are a far better investment. Now they're more expensive than any of these. Maybe they're $12, $15 or something for a pair, but they would last you much, much longer, and I think they would just do better for you in the long run. And plus, they're comfortable to wear. They don't look particularly weird. We're all worried about how we look a little bit, although in the case of a pandemic, I think our vanity is going to sink down a little bit. But so anyway, these are the ones I recommend. Again, you can find them on my website, disasterprepare.com, or you can look other places and find them. I just think they're a really nice, quality-made safety glass that has nice protection along the sides and fits the face well. All right, so those are the glasses if you don't wear glasses. Now, if you do wear glasses, you have to have something that can go over them. And the first thing you might think of are these big, laboratory goggles, right? Where you have these gigantic things that go over your face, and they don't seal very tightly against the sides of your face. That's not what they're meant to do. So there's gaps there, and there's gaps underneath here. They're very uncomfortable to wear for more than 45 minutes. I say that having worked in a lab and wearing them. So even though these are good quality 3M glasses, and they're vented to try and keep from steaming up, they're just not, I just can't recommend those. I just don't think they're the best use of your money. There are more traditional over glasses that you can wear. So they're these are by 3M. Again, they have a fairly large gap on the side, but you have your glasses underneath them, so you have a couple layers there. And these are okay. They feel a little brittle and a little fragile to me. I was a little bit surprised, but they're perfectly fine in terms of quality. I think they would last, a while. And they're modestly priced. Again, I don't know what these are, maybe $8 a glasses or something like that. They're okay. And then the next ones are really, they almost look like ski goggles. And they have this rubber seal, and they would go right up against your face, and they seal very tight to the face. So in terms of all of the glasses, they definitely seal the best of all of them. But again, they're not particularly comfortable to wear for very long. If you wear ski goggles, you know what I mean. It sort of wears on you after a while. But in terms of protection, they do a great job of protecting. And again, they have this rubber seal all the way around, which really seals up to your face. They do fog up, though, because they're so tightly sealed, and that becomes a problem where you have to pull your glasses off and try and get them to unfog. And there are anti-fog products you can spray to keep them from doing that. But for that reason and just the comfort level, they're not the ones that I like the most, although I did like these. The ones I like the most are similar to the 3M glasses, but just in my opinion, a little bit better made. The quality of the construction is better. These are over glasses like so, and they've got a really nice fit to them. They have adjustable legs, which is nice, that the 3M ones did not. And they just seem to be, all in all, just a better product. They go against the face on the sides a little better. So if I had glasses and I had to wear over glasses like this, these are the ones that I would wear, okay? Again, they're not terribly expensive either. You can take a look at disasterprepare.com. I'll just offer this one type. If you like the other types, just go out and hunt them and find them somewhere if that fits your style a little bit better, all right? But these are the ones I'd recommend. All right, so that takes care of glasses. Next, I'm going to talk about respirators, something that people are really interested in. So let's talk about respirators. There's a lot to know about them. I'll try and cover it as quickly as I can, but also sort of give you a good feel for what's possible. So there are really 4 different options you have, okay? The first are these sort of doctor's type masks or dentist type masks, which just go around the ears, and they're meant to cover your nose and mouth and provide some layer of protection. Now, even these are relatively good quality ones. They're very multi-layered. They feel pretty thick and durable. They're relatively comfortable, but studies have shown they don't really do a whole lot to protect you. I'm not going to say they don't do anything, because it would seem like if there were droplets in the air, they would soak into the outer layer, and maybe if there wasn't too much moisture, they wouldn't get all the way through. So I can't say they don't do anything, but the studies have certainly not shown that they offer a good deal of protection. So better than nothing, okay, better than a paper towel wrapped around your face, but not what I would recommend in terms of protection, okay? So let's set those as sort of the lowest option, but still something, okay? They're very inexpensive if you can find them. Now, I will say that all of the respirators that we're going to talk about are in short supply. People have bought them up, they're hoarding them, understandably. So you may have to wait a little while and really kind of keep your eye out to get some, all right? And they're way overpriced now. Everything's gone up by a factor of maybe 3 to 5, sometimes 10 if somebody's really trying to gouge people. So what would normally have cost $1 might now cost $8 or something like that. And you have to decide if you're willing to pay that premium, okay? Now, so that's type 1, is just these sort of face masks. The second one are what people are probably most familiar with, which are these N95 disposable respirators. And there's a number of different types. These are adult-sized. This is a child-sized here. And there are different types, different brands, many different brands. As long as they're N95 certified, though, they're probably all generally equivalent in terms of their filtering. But there's a few things to know. The first thing is, whatever respirator you pick has to fit your face well, has to fit it snugly all the way around, so that you don't have gaps where the virus could come up and in as you breathe. So, you know, if you get a disposable respirator, you want to make sure that it fits your face well. And so every respirator is a little bit different. And they usually have bendable nose pieces that you can bend them. You want to get the right size so that it fits your face well. And not every respirator is going to fit you all that great. Okay, some of us have longer faces and some have short little faces, and so you have to try a few different sizes and maybe even a few different products before you find one that you're comfortable with, that, you know, physically is comfortable, but also you feel like does a good job of sealing to your face. All right, disposable respirators. Now, some of them come with these valves on them, on the front of them. Okay, and people wonder, well, how does that work? And what it is it's a little pressure valve that when you breathe out, the valve opens and lets your breath come out. And it does feel a little claustrophobic to wear these masks, you know, because your breath is sort of having to be pushed out through the mask. And these valves are meant to make that easier. And it does make it easier. It certainly makes it more comfortable to wear. Now, understand what the valve does and does not do. A mask with a valve still protects you, as far as I can tell, equally as well as one that does not have a valve. What it doesn't do, however, is prevent your contamination. Let's say you have the coronavirus and you cough, the valve will let that come out and you could potentially contaminate others. So while it's great for protecting yourself, perhaps even better than a conventional N95, it's not great for protecting those around you. So you can weigh that accordingly. If you know you're not infected, maybe the mask with the valve is the best option. All right, and I notice a lot of medical professionals are wearing this type because they're more comfortable and they know that they're not infected. Perhaps they've been tested and they've been careful with their precautions. So that's sort of the case on N95 respirators, valved or unvalved, of various sizes. You really need to, again, just try them out, make sure you find some that are comfortable and that fit well. Now, the nice thing about masks is it prevents the droplets from getting in, it prevents you from breathing it in directly. It also prevents you from touching your nose and mouth all day, which again, we do that sort of thing. So it offers a layer, a barrier there. But the disadvantage of it is you tend to muck with it a lot. You want to adjust it and move it, it's uncomfortable. And that puts your hands at your face a lot. So you have to be careful not to fall into that trap where you're handling your mask a lot, all right? Now, problem with disposable respirators too is when you go out and you come back in, you have to assume the outside of the mask is contaminated, all right? That the virus has somehow gotten on the outside of the mask. That's its job. And you have to be able to disinfect that and decontaminate your mask unless you just have a large supply of them. So I'm going to talk about that in the next video, methods I recommend to disinfect or decontaminate your various types of masks, all right? So hold tight for that video. Let me finish talking about personal protective equipment first. So the next type of mask are what are known as half face piece respirators. Now these are pretty cool. They're meant for people who maybe do work in a shop, like for sanding and things like that. And they slip over your head, like so, and they hook in the back, all right? So they're very easy to put on. They're very comfortable, surprisingly comfortable. They have a nice rubber seal that goes up against the face. They seal much better than disposable respirators, no question about it, all right? So they give you a much tighter seal. Now, you have to attach filters to them. They by themselves don't have any filters. And there are two different types. There are these small, 4-inch discs or so that feel sort of like a cloth pad that attach to them, all right? And those would work fine. And then there are these more permanent type filters that are in plastic housings, all right? And basically they just go on here and they latch on, and you have one on each side, and they provide a barrier, a filter barrier. These are P100 filters, which means they do even a better job than N95s. And so they're really great filters. Now, they're also much easier to decontaminate, as I'll talk about in my next video. So in terms of advantages over a disposable respirator, these are definitely going to protect you better. Both of them have the same disadvantage of your eyes are still left exposed. But again, in terms of order of effectiveness, this would be the least effective. The disposable respirators would be next. And then the half face piece respirators would be the next one up the chain, especially if you've got some filters attached to them like these permanent ones that are really high quality filters that are going to last you a good long time, okay? Now, just like with the other respirators, when you come in your house, you have to assume they're contaminated, and you'll have to decontaminate these respirators as well. But they're relatively easy to decontaminate, as I'll talk about, all right? And then finally, the last type of respirator are these full face piece respirators. Now, they look, like you're a firefighter or something like that, but they're not particularly hard to put on. Like so. You adjust the strap, and you have them on. Really, they're no big deal to put on at all. They take the same type of filters. Okay, so I've gone ahead and attached the filters to the full face respirator so you kind of see how they go on here. And again, these type of masks and filters really give you great protection. The beauty of these is that you have a built-in face shield, so you don't need glasses, you don't need protective glasses. They also do a very good job of sealing to your face. You have to get the right size mask, they're small, medium, large, and extra large. They say medium fits most people. My particular face, large seems to fit a little bit better. And then you have to get these filters that go on it as well. So in terms of cost, it's certainly the most expensive option. The half-piece respirators are the next, and on down it goes in terms of expense. The disadvantage is I think a lot of people might be reluctant to wear a full face piece respirator out and about. I think there would be a feeling of I'm overdoing it here. I'm looking like I'm paranoid and I'm all dressed up like Darth Vader or something. And they might be reluctant to wear it. And if that's the case, then it doesn't do you any good at all right? I think the half face piece respirators are a really good compromise. Yes, you look like you're prepared. You're wearing a respirator as opposed to a disposable one. But it will do a really fine job of protecting you and maybe look not quite so futuristic or paranoid. The disposable respirators certainly are an option as well, and if you have no other choice, I do recommend these. Now, there is one thing you can do to improve the disposable respirator performance in terms of making it last longer and really just improve it overall, and that is to put one of these doctor masks over the top of it, okay? And that comes as a recommendation I've seen on a number of professional sites. And what that does is it gives you an additional barrier so that if droplets do settle on it, this is going to get thrown away each time. You're not going to try and decontaminate those, but this is less contaminated when you go to decontaminate it, all right? And so wearing that second barrier is really a good option as well if you're going to use disposable respirators like that, all right? So anyway, that's respirators in a nutshell, the different types, and again, I'll talk about in the next video how you might decontaminate those. Okay, so finally let's talk about protective suits, all right? Now, if things got really bad and you had to go out and about and maybe things are quarantined, this isn't just for like a small occasional case here or there. This is where you're really in a Wuhan type situation where the world around you, your immediate vicinity is just sort of shut down and you're really worried about getting the virus. And so you can get these disposable suits, these Tyvek suits. They usually come with little booties and other things. They wrap around and like these are the little booties here that are built in. They have a little hat that comes up around the top so that you can help protect your head and everything. And it really just kind of seals you up from head to toe. They have cuffs that pull tight, and so you'd have your gloves and your cuffs. And if you think about it, with your mask and your glasses and the suit sort of fully wrapped around you, you're really protected. Now, the virus will settle on that suit and will settle on the glasses and the mask, but hopefully it won't get into your body. And there's a number of videos about how to properly put on these suits, how to properly take them off so that you don't contaminate yourself taking them off. And I would encourage you to watch some of those done by medical professionals, typically by nurses. They've done a number of videos like that that show how you properly disrobe and all of that. Now, you'd have to assume it was contaminated, so it would be very difficult to fully decontaminate a suit like this. People say you can spray it down with a bleach mixture and stuff, but there's just so many crevices and stuff. I don't know how effective that would be. But you're probably better off just getting a number of these suits. You can get like a box of 6 of them for reasonably priced, and just swapping out the suits in those rare instances where you had to go out in that sort of really contaminated environment. So that kind of concludes my discussion of this personal protective equipment topic. If you have some questions, you can of course post them and I'll try and answer them as best I can. And again, the next video I'm going to talk about is how to decontaminate some of your personal equipment like this, how to decontaminate glasses, and most importantly, how to decontaminate your masks. So again, keep in mind, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not an expert in virology or anything like that. I'm an educated person, I'm intelligent, like most people who watch the videos are. And so I'm trying to draw the best conclusions I can to protect myself and my family, and I'm trying to share those with other people, okay? So take my advice in that vein. Anyway, so I hope this was helpful. Sorry the video was so long, but I just wanted to sort of give an overview of this protective equipment. Hopefully some of it was useful to you.